Okay, so these are the release notes for Stammer version 1.8.0, and we have released a lot of new things in this release, so let's jump right into it. Okay, and one thing we added this release because many customers have requested it is the ability to change the size of the chat widget. Now, this is not all we're going to do. We're going to make it fully customizable, but right now you can change the height of the chat widget, make it small, medium, large, or extra large. And those changes will be applied in the preview here. Now we are also going to be adding the ability to change the width as well. So we will have selectable width options, as well as the ability to set custom sizes. So stay tuned for that. Also, if you didn't catch it in the last release, now as you scroll down our kind of chat widget UI settings page here, the preview will scroll down the page as well, so you can kind of see the preview in real time more easily as you make changes to these settings. And another thing we have added here is you can now customize the user message background color and text color separately from the AI response message background color and text color. So these are now independent and you can change them to be whatever you want by simply selecting the color from the color palette here. Okay, and another very cool thing that we've added is that Stammer will now render Markdown if it's received from ChatGPT. And you can see an example of this here with my notifier chatbot. It is responding with Markdown, and of course our user interface is now rendering that Markdown. Now, one of the best ways, of course, to get ChatGPT to respond with Markdown is to tell it to. So in order to do that, let me show you what I've done to my chatbot here. At the end of my base system prompt, I have told it to use Markdown for all of your responses and include an H1 Markdown title for every one of them. Now, I was, actually trying to get it to render the Markdown, so you may not want to use it this way. You may want to tell it to use Markdown for all the responses where appropriate, or something like that. If you all have any feedback on this feature, be sure to hit us up, let us know about that, because we can certainly improve this as we go along. Okay, so another feature we have gotten out with this release is the auto billing for sub-accounts. Sub-accounts can, of course, only view and activate the auto billing if their parent agency has enabled it. And of course, the parent agency has to have packages created for additional credits and additional credits. And what will trigger the auto billing for sub accounts is that when the one condition right now, which is when the chatbot is queried, but they run out of credits, it will automatically purchase more credits if they have enabled it, as well as if their agency account has enabled it. Now, please reach out to us if you have any questions about this. We can add more documentation here about this in the application. And of course, reach out if you encounter any issues with it. Now, another minor improvement that we've made is to our user interface where you scrape web pages. We're trying to make this interface simpler and kind of mimic the interfaces that we're all used to from maybe, the file manager on Windows or Finder in Mac OS. And so now all the links will have checkboxes next to them, and you can use those checkboxes to apply operations like deleting, training, stuff like that to the links that you have selected. Okay, and another improvement we made within this user interface that we actually made in the last release, and then we made improvements to it in this release that you may not have noticed, is the crawling website functionality. So now we have live feedback in the user interface when you crawl a website. So let me go ahead and crawl notifier.so again. As you can see, this pops up, and in real time, it informs you of the status of the crawl. Now, of course, we will be making more improvements to this. We can already see some ways we can improve this. So if you have any suggestions about improving the user interface, as usual, feel free to reach out to us. Another very small change we made, but I want to go ahead and mention it in case you're not familiar with this feature or this functionality, is that we added some more additional information about this prioritize question and answer results. And what this does is exactly what it kind of sounds like. When the results that match your user's query is a Q&A result, then we will prioritize that and remove any other knowledge-based results in order to influence the chatbot to kind of answer only with that information. Now, of course, we found this to be very, very effective for making the chatbot answer for certain answers exactly as you want it to. And as usual, keep in mind that, the best model to use for this type of thing is GPT-4 currently. Like Ross always says, it's like a third grader versus, a senior in high school. The third grader is going to be, not on his game at all times. Whereas the senior in high school, they know they're going into college. They know they need to keep their grades up. And so they may occasionally go off to a party, as Ross says, and kind of deviate a bit, but it's very, very rare. So yeah, I highly suggest using GPT-4. Now, of course, it depends on your use case, right? If you have something that's a very, very simple use case and not a lot of complex kind of instructions in your base system prompt, well, then maybe GPT 3.5 is best for you. And it's always, try both and see how it works for you. But I will say GPT-4 performs so much better, it will kind of blow your mind. Now, also, I should say that we're going to be looking into other models as well. So there's a lot of other, platforms out there that have popped up, like Claude, and of course, other models completely like Llama 2 that we may be able to look into. So we will keep that stuff in mind and let you know how those types of things appear or will be put on our roadmap. Okay, and so finally, I want to mention a lot of other improvements were made as well that we can't necessarily show you because it may not be directly customer facing, but we made a lot of improvements in this release to our Stripe code that interacts with Stripe. So a lot of minor bug fixes have been fixed. As always, let us know if you encounter any issues by opening a ticket. And then we also made some other minor changes, like some, formatting changes to our password reset page, as well as making, help links there in case you kind of get locked out and need help. But that is it for some of the major functionality that we've released over the past couple days for Stammer version 1.8.0. As always, reach out to us if you have any questions at all, if you have any issues that pop up, or if you have any feedback requests. Do not hesitate to reach out to us.